Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the studios of Grafton Community Television at 26 Providence Road. This is Meet the Candidate. I'm Bob DeToma. My guest this afternoon is someone you should be fairly familiar with. She's the most televised person in Grafton. Her name is Colleen Roy, and she is running for Select Board again.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So take us through the last 3 years since you came to this point where you decided I'm going to run.
Okay, so the last 3 years, 2023. So when I first ran in 2023 and did not get enough votes, I jumped on as many boards and committees as I possibly could just to continue serving Grafton in as big a capacity as I possibly can. And then I sat out a cycle, and then I gave it a whirl last year, and it didn't take. And we're hoping that this year it's my year. We'll see.
How many committees? Let me see. Cable Advisory Committee, Affordable Housing Trust,
Yep. CPC.
CPC.
Those are the ones I'm currently on right now.
Right.
Yep.
Formerly Select Board. Are there other former committees?
Oh gosh, yeah. Formerly Select Board, formerly FinCom, formerly Capital Planning Improvement Committee, formerly TRICOM, the Fire Chief Search Committee, Master Plan Working Group. There are a lot, actually. I can't list them all.
Wow, it's only 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So the thing I was thinking about was watching the event that you attended that was hosted by Ray Mead, was how well prepared you were, and how well prepared everyone was. How many hours a week do you spend on research?
Countless. I truly don't know. Every single day something new pops up that I'm interested in. I'm always on the MMA website. I'm always looking at other communities, what they have going on, and what we could potentially bring to Grafton that to benefit us or to avoid pitfalls. Yeah, a lot.
A lot of
A lot.
So you have to do your homework.
Yes.
And you mentioned the MMA, and you search other towns for looking for ideas, and but there's a lot of math, there's a lot of numbers, and how do you verify what you're looking at is actually accurate? Do you have to trust, or do you have a way to verify it?
A calculator. I usually use a calculator to verify all that.
Okay.
Most recently in CPC, right? We were going through our standard 10% that we put into open space, historic, and affordable housing. And there's this one article that has them all listed, and then another article and then the numbers didn't match. And it was just simple flip of the paper, see they didn't match, and just realizing to call it out. And I've got enough experience and knowledge to know to call those things out. There aren't usually that many mistakes, but when they are there, hopefully I'm around to call them out.
What did you take away from that event the other night with the all-female panel?
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for my daughter to grow up to see things like that, and I wish all the candidates could have been there. I understand life happens, and it is what it is, but no, I really liked that format as opposed to other events that we have in town, because you really get to see candidates interact with each other, and that's what it's going to be like on a board. You're going to see people interact with each other. You're not going to see them in static, answer a question,
Sure.
and I think there was some value to that.
Yeah, it was a worthwhile event, and I'm really hopeful that Ray would come forward again in the future and do something similar than the next election cycle. I agree with you. There was a lot of benefit to it because it was relaxed, and everybody appeared to have a good time. And as I said, everybody was so damn well prepared. It was really worth the effort.
Yes.
And I think the audience also enjoyed the format.
Yes.
I mean, and then we had someone in the audience shouting out answers or shouting out questions. He'll go nameless, but it was a great event, and I think that everybody shined, and I hope that the town accepted it for what it was and will promote future events like that.
Yeah, it was a great event.
Yeah, the budget has to be foremost on your mind because it's on everybody else's mind.
Yes.
And when you attend, I'm sorry, maybe you don't attend, but if you are watching and following what's going on at FinCom, how do you take that information and digest it and then put it in a format so that when people stop you on the street, you can spit it back out again? Because I think the average person, they say, oh, FinCom, and they're on to the next thing. They don't want to hear it. But somebody like you comes along and has to be able to kind of hold their hand, so to speak, and walk them through that process. Is there a way that you do that, or does it just come natural to you? How do you?
I think a little of both. I've been doing this for so long. I have so much experience that I can hopefully explain it in a way that keeps people engaged and following along. But I've also spent the last few months, starting in the fall, making specific social media posts highlighting just the budget, really condensing it down and hopefully keeping people engaged and aware of what's going on. And it's a real shame we don't have the local level coverage that we did once long ago. And I'm not a replacement for that, but I'm hopefully substituting a little bit so that people are aware, because I understand they're not going to be watching multiple hours of meetings every week like I am. But I don't know how else to get the information out there. It is the number one issue every single year is, I didn't know about that. I didn't hear about that. And how can we be more accessible and be everywhere for everyone when everybody's at a different level of understanding and a different level of accepting of information.
I know the town moderator has a lot of ideas about how to draw people into town meeting. What about drawing people in to attend select board? Have any thoughts on that? Pizza.
I think we give out food.
Free beer.
I don't know if we have enough liquor licenses, but I think I don't know. It's really hard. Everybody's at capacity these days, our budget included, that they just don't have the bandwidth to take on another thing. And it's unfortunate, but you got to be engaged in your community and you got to try to pay attention.
It's true. I know people's lives, like you said, they take over everything else. There's forming family is first, children, they have to go to school. How do you carve 10 minutes out of your day to sit down and listen to something on select board? And I think that's a challenge for anyone, not just you, who's going to run for office. It's like how to get people to engage. The budget aside, what else are people worried about?
The roof. The roof has really become a big part of the conversation in the last couple weeks, because it's a huge project with a big price tag that seemingly came out of left field. It didn't, of course. We've been talking about it since 2024 when we engaged the consultant to do the study. The downside is that the study results came out at a time where if we wanted to make it onto this warrant, we really needed to make moves now. So that's, in the confusing nature in which it's trying to be funded, is, I think, causing a lot of conversation as well.
And I know everybody loves the conspiracy theory. It's they tried to slip this in at the last minute because they already know the budget's blown up, and I wonder sometimes how people can focus so much of their attention on stuff they don't know, as opposed to trying to find, real answers. And a roof is a legitimate thing. It's not made up.
Right.
And it happens. It happens to everybody. It's shortly after we moved in here, we needed a new roof. So it's like you just have to grin and bear it. It's just, and planning for it can be painful. I mean, I think about the people who have to do the budget and the numbers on a daily basis. Evan, Mary, select board, FinCom, and I wonder sometimes how they sleep at night, because it's a challenge. It can be such a challenge.
And you just hit the nail on the head. It's the planning for it and having those conversations around planning for capital. Back when I was on CIPC Capital Improvement Planning Committee, it was a pretty robust committee that was meeting often. And when I got off, the committee started to not meet as much. So if I am to be elected back onto the board, I would immediately become asked to be the CIPC rep to rejigger that committee so that we are talking about our capital needs and creating a planning process that we can point people to say, go watch that meeting or go look at this plan. They exist, but they're not in the same way as they existed back when CIPC was meeting regularly.
So I'm going to turn you over to the camera and the viewers at home, who are obviously the voters you're trying to reach. I'll give you a couple of minutes to talk to them, and we'll wrap things up.
All right. My name is Colleen Roy. I'm running for Grafton Select Board because I believe I have the knowledge, the leadership, and the skills required to do the job, and I hope to enhance the current leadership on the board. Vote Colleen Roy on May 19th.
Colleen Roy has been my guest in studio. She's running for Select Board this election cycle. On behalf of all the talented people that work here at Grafton Community Television, thank you for watching. I'm Bob DeToma.